Okay, welcome back to this Bukkit plugin development tutorial series. Like I said in the previous part, in this video we are going to actually generate our terrain and we're going to test it out, and if we get time we're also going to add a populator, and yeah, that's something I forgot to mention basically. What I'm trying to show you here is how to sort of combine sort of fairly complicated-ish terrain generation with populators too. I don't know. So we're going to add grass and maybe flowers. Right, so like I said in the previous part, what we need to do now is that we've generated this noise parameter, amount, whatever. We need to actually use this to generate our hill. So within this set of loops here, we are essentially at one specific x and z coordinate. So if you want to just imagine yourself in the game standing on one block, this is what's, where you are. And essentially, you're running in lines along the chunk, if you like. Don't usually use weird explanation things like that, so sorry if it came off a bit odd, but it's kind of a nice way to think about it, if you like. So what we need to do is, as well as going along rows, just along the bottom 0, y equals 0 point, we also need to go upwards. So we're going to start from y equals 1, so y is height. So I'm going to start from y equals 1, and we're going to go up to some point using this noise. So what we're going to do is use another for loop here. So we're going to do for y equals 1, and while y is less than, let's say, I don't know, 32, plus this noise parameter. So this noise parameter will be a number between like I said, minus 12 and 12, and because we've now got 32, what we're going to get is a number between 20 and 44. So that's sort of the range where our hills are going to be. So then we just need to increment y, and we should be good to go. So what we're going to do inside this loop is set the block to grass, not grass, dirt. So we're going to do blocks. This coords to byte, so x, y and z are all fine because they're the variables we're using, and this is going to be then equal to cast to a byte the ID of dirt. So we can get this from material dirt. Should we do diamonds? No, that'd be silly. Who has diamond hills? Nobody. Right, there we go. So now we've got dirt hills. And then just after this, what we can do is set the block at x, y and z equal to grass, which will just sort of overwrite sort of the last block in this loop, and it'll set it to grass. So you have grass on top of the dirt hills, just so it looks nicer. So what we can do is just basically copy this line here and replace dirt with grass, like so. So now we should be ready to export this and give it a test. So if I just export the plugin, I have created this Java description already, or jar description. So let's just double click that and we'll go to export, like so, encouraging that there are no errors. So let's go across to our terminal and we'll start up the server and see if it works basically. So we'll start the server, we should get the enabled message, which we do. I'll mention it in a minute, I have forgotten something. Okay, so now we can jump into the game and create our world. So let's just join the server, like so. I'll just make it day first. Okay, so what we need to do now is create a new world that uses our generator. So we can do that using the multiverse plugin, which I have installed. We can do it in game. So we do /mv create, and then the name of the world, so let's just call this hills, and then the environment, which is going to be normal, and then the generator preceded with a dash and a G, which means generator, because you can also set the seed, which you do with dash and S, but we're going to do the generator. So generator, and the generator is just the name of the plugin, which was not so flat lands. So we just hit enter, we get starting world creation and complete, and at this point it's a good idea to look at the terminal, because if there have been any errors in your generation, like null pointers, they will pop up here. Although generally if that happens you'll get a failed instead of success in the game window. So here it will say failed. So now we have generated the world successfully. We can teleport to it. So I'm going to do /mvtp and the world name, which I think was Hills, and just hit enter. Oh, what did I do? Oh, mv2 should be TP. And then because there is no defined spawn point, we get this warning, but we can just ignore that and we can set one later with multiverse if we need to. So there you go, I fell to my death, but as you can see there are hills, and what I will actually do is just let's see, I'll just stop the server, and what I'll do is set this world to be creative. Oh, by the way, just ignore these errors that come up. That happens whenever I stop this testing server. It's actually a problem with these two plugins that you can see listed here, so Command Book and Multiverse Nether Portals. It happened after the latest Bukkit update. But just for the purposes of this tutorial, don't concern yourselves too much with this. It doesn't seem to cause any actual problems, and it's not affected by what we're doing. Just feel free to ignore it. So what was I doing? Yeah, we were setting the world to creative. So we do that by going into our plugins folder and the multiverse core folder, and then opening this world.yml file, and we want to display it. So this is the file, which I'll just drag up here, and you can see that we have this public world, which is the world I was in, and then we have this hills world, which I just created. So we can just change game mode to creative, like so. And we can close this file and we'll start up the server once more. And now when I join the game I should be able to be in creative mode, which means I won't die and I can fly around and look at the hills. Okay, so that looks like it's started. So let's go to my game and reconnect. There we go, respawn and falling, and now okay, I'm here. So now we need to teleport, so I can just press up and TP hills and then confirm, and I'm in creative mode, no more fall damage, and I picked up all the stuff I dropped. But if I just fly into the air, you can see that what we have are some nice, fairly smooth, about what was it, 24? Yeah, about 24 block high hills. So this lowest point down here, which isn't actually the lowest point, there are some lower ones over there, is y equals 26. And then up here at the high points, it'll be, you know, a lot higher because it's higher. There you go. These are higher, down there is lower. So yeah, there you go. That is the basics, absolute basics of sort of slightly more complicated terrain generation. And you can play around with all the various parameters, which I will do briefly actually, just to show you what can be changed easily. Because I do really want to focus on how to actually use it instead of getting all bogged down in the technical side of things. So if I just, for example, were to just exit this game here, so we'll just disconnect and stop the server. It takes forever to stop because I'm writing to a network drive connected by wireless, so saving chunks takes a while. Anyway, so say if we wanted to make the hills, you know, like let's see, closer together, we would increase this number, I think, because it's 1 over, so increasing this will actually make the scale smaller. But say, okay, let's just set this to 32 and let's see what happens. Basically, they're going to be more spread out, is my guess. So let's see what I'm doing. Let's start the server up. Oh no, let's export the plugin. I've done that a few times. Why isn't it working? It's not exported. Dear. So let's start. Actually, let's delete the world first, so it has to be regenerated. So just going back to our server, delete this world's folder like so, and then start up the server like this, and it should regenerate the world without giving an error. Looks like it's doing it, or is that, I think, yeah, that took a while, so I guess that was it doing it. So let's join the server again, and maybe we'll have to delete the world with multiverse, but let's see. So we'll just join the server and I'll fly. There you go, look, these are definitely close together. Is it not daytime? Okay, that made it darker, fine. And as you can see, these are just slightly more compact. I mean, technically it should be, what, it should be double, shouldn't it? They should be half the distance apart, which does look kind of like it. but it does look quite weird. Like I said, this is not really a practical application. The only thing you can actually use this method for really is generating like deserts with like these look a bit like sand dunes, don't they? But yeah, that's basically that. So let's make this set it to 128. We'll do the opposite, and then I'll just show you how to make them taller, because these are the only two things you really need to worry about, you know, massively. So let's just stop the server. There we go. And stopping server. ... Anyway, so let's set this to 128 to spread the hills out more, and we'll just demonstrate what happens with that. So let's delete the world. So let's just make sure it's stopped. Yeah, if you delete the world before it's fully stopped, it recreates the world's level.dat file, which then contains the seed and the generator and all kinds of stuff. It doesn't contain the generator, it contains stuff that makes it not work properly if you do that, basically. Right, anyway, let's start the server up. Oh, no, did I export the plugin? I don't know. I don't think I did. Pro. Maybe I did. Well, if I did, I'll cleverly edit this. So let's export our plugin with the 128 set. Obviously you could potentially read these numbers in from a config file if you wanted to do that, to give people control over their terrain. So that should be stopped and exported. So let's delete the folder once more and we'll just start it up again. So it takes quite, you may have noticed, it takes quite a significantly shorter time to generate the terrain than it does for you know, actual worlds. It's because so much less is going on. Really, that's the only reason. So there you go, that's 128. As you can see, these are much more spread out. And you can sort of see that we have sort of hills, basically. Quite a bit more realistic in a way. This looks kind of nice, right? Okay, so that's pretty much the last thing I wanted to mention. Although actually I will say one more thing, which is about the height. So let's just go back and try that out. So back to Eclipse, and we will see, like I said before, this is a number between -1 and 1, then we're multiplying by 12 here. So say if I were to multiply by like 2, we'd have much lower hills. If I set it to, let's say, 26, we're going to get much larger hills. So let's just try 26, and we'll just see what happens. But first we need to delete the world folder and start the server. I exported it, I don't even know. I'll do it anyway, just in case, and then we'll start the server with my shell script and wait for it to generate. There we go. And let's go to the game, and we'll jump in the server and just go into fly mode, and hopefully you can see that these hills are much higher than they were before, and also much lower because it's minus the limit to positive the limit. If that makes any sense. So there you go, massive sweeping hills. So that's basically that, and like I said, one thing I do want to do next is add a populator, or a series of populators possibly, to add sort of, you know, terrain decoration, I guess. I did do this previously with the trees, but I didn't do grass, so we're going to do grass on this one. Why not? So let's disconnect from the server and we'll do that. Okay, so this needs to be stopped, obviously, and we'll go to the Eclipse, and we'll just set these back to sensible numbers. So I think what we'll do is actually generate, instead of hills, we'll generate sort of plains with, you know, very small elevation changes and very spread out. So 128 sounds good, and I think what we'll do is just set this to, let's say, 2. Okay, so that's that. So this will generate terrain that is very slightly hilly, so it'll look a bit like the plains biome. Okay, so that's that. And next thing we need to do is create our populator, which I think I might just leave for the next part, because I've slightly lost track of time, so this might be getting a bit too long. So yeah, come back. It's a nice natural stopping point anyway. So come back for part 3, where I'll cover adding the populator to populate those hills. Okay, so thank you for watching, and come back for part 3.